I've been everywhere, man, I've been everywhere. Never a trouble or care, man, never a trouble or care. Breathe that mountain air, man, I've been everywhere. I've been to Whestbuwy and Berrily for Nimby's old bugger me. Whestbury and Berrily and Chudley for noses three. Whestbury and Berrily, so bugger me the village green. Whestbury and Berrily for Nimby's old bugger me. Whestbury and Berrily and 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 Whestbury and Berrily, Whestbury and Berrily and Whestbury and Berrily and Whestbury and Berrily and Whestbury and Berrily and Viking Warrior here again, folks, with another spoiled score update on the Whingeing Whestbuwy Whiners, featuring the Wheturn of the Whingeing Whestbuwy Whiners. Remember, dear viewer, the fuss made when our wonderful Tasmanian Wibwall government announced plans to build a maximum security prison in Whestbuwy. Oh no, we don't want all of those untidy criminals and their untidy families coming to our tiny town of Whestbuwy. Even though the town was built by convicts anyway. Well, the Whingeing Whestbuwy Whiners made such a fuss about it all that the Tasmanian Wibwall government, which most of them voted for anyway, agreed to move the jail 3 more kilometres out of town, making it now a grand total of 5.2 kilometres out of town. But, you guessed it, the Whingeing Whestbuwy Whiners have returned and would like to reiterate that we are still not happy. No, not happy at all, Jan. Oh dear. Where do I start? There's enough material here for a whole psychology library full of psychobabble. So without further ado, let's peel back the layers of this rotten, hypocritical onion left to rot in rain-soaked Whestbuwy fields. Back to the starting at West then. www.nimby.com or Whingeing Whestbuwy Whiners at notinmybackyard.com. Must be a big backyard if it goes a whole 5.2 kilometres out of town. How about Whingeing Whestbuwy Whiners at notinmybigbackyard.com? Well, just as small men allegedly harbour overcompensating delusions of grandeur, then so too do our Whingeing Whestbuwy Whiners harbour delusions that their tiny, tidy town is a whole lot bigger and more important than it really is. Next, and as previously mentioned, where does 40% of a town that was built by convicts then get off now rejecting those same modern-day convicts? I say 40% of the town as 50% of the town do actually want the prison, and 10% just couldn't give a fuck, as per usual. Well, given that a good 60% of these 40% are women who, brainwashed by the radical feminist lesbians into believing that constant criticisms and takedowns are somehow aesthetic behaviour, and that a function of this aesthetic behaviour would be to put as many men in jail as possible, regardless of any innocence or guilt, or just because we don't like the way you smell, we could then say that it is now time for these self-same whinging NIMBYites to reap the consequences of their own actions, much like aforesaid prison inmates. And those with no stomach for reaping what they sow, maybe all of them, well, I'm sure that our wonderful Wibwall government, who they all voted for, would come to the rescue with 3 removalist vans for all those who would rather be somewhere else. The remainder, of course, could then be left to whine themselves to sleep like naughty children with no bedtime story until they're all whined out. Alternatively, we could put the boot on the other foot, lock them all up in jail, and see how they like it when their families don't visit, because it's too far to drive all the way down to Slowbart, which would inevitably be counterproductive, as the decibel level of the whinging would then rise in direct proportion to the rather glaring lack of rehabilitation. Well, we could also say that the train has already left the station on all of this, as that delicious irony of maximum security prisoners being housed next door to a codeine and cannabis factory has now been lost forever, to be replaced now by only the aromatic eucalyptus sense of freedom emanating from their much-abused bush block of Crown land. Newsflash! 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 We have just seen many of these Tasmanian Liberal voters ducking into their nicely refurbished Bowls Club change rooms and coming out with, no, not more sports rorts, but they're coming out all dressed up like weenies. And what's this? Yes. They're now all claiming that this much abused bush block is vital habitat for the lesser-known Whingeing Wooster, who, no doubt, will soon feel well at home, housed next to all the other Whingeing Woosters, prison or no. Alternatively, again, we could take a political bent here and accuse all of the Whingeing Whestbuwy Whiners and associated nimbyites of being mere puppets of the People's Republic of China, just like their radical feminist mentors at the Australian Broadcasting Commission, whose only aim in life is to spread hatreds, intolerances and divisions. But while highly topical, this may be a long bow to draw indeed. In any case, the policy of appeasement has, once again, been a Neville Chamberlain of a disaster, Mr. Premier.